नमस्कार, मेरा नाम है हर्षवर्धन सिंह और आप देख रहे हैं Mstv। हमारे साथ रोहित शर्मा जी हैं, प्रेसिडेंट हैं इंडो फ्रेंच स्पोर्ट्स एसोसिएशन के। एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जो कि काम करती है फ्रेंच, अभी तो फिलहाल इसी चीज़ के लिए काम करिए कि फ्रांस और भारत के जो रिश्ते हैं थोड़े बेहतर हो जाएं, इस लिहाज से कि स्पोर्ट्स को अगर हम सेंटर में रखते हैं, स्पोर्ट्स को अगर हम एक्सेस बनाते हैं, तो उसके चारों तरफ घूमती हुई हर एक चीज़, चाहे वो पूरा बिजनेस हो, चाहे वो जॉब्स हो, चाहे वो बेसिक किसी भी एक इंसान के जीवन में आने वाले बदलाव हों, उनको हम कैसे बेहतर कर सकते हैं। और एक दूसरे कल्चर से समझ पाना कि उनकी जो खूबसूरत चीज़ें हैं, उनकी जो अच्छी चीज़ें हैं, जब वो हम इनकलकेट करेंगे, जो वो हम जोड़ेंगे खुद में, तो उससे क्या सारा फ़र्क पड़ेगा। बहुत सारे लेवल पे कर रहे हैं, गवर्नमेंट के लेवल पे कर रहे हैं, प्राइवेट जो प्लेयर्स हैं उनके लेवल पर है। तो चलते हैं, थोड़ा सा बात करते हैं, इतनी मेरी समझ है, थोड़ी सी और इसे बढ़ाने की कोशिश करते हैं। हेलो एंड वेलकम रोहित।
Hello. Proud mind is something that I feel. And initially, when I was playing and I was like others, to express over the top, to share what I was not supposed to share. Then slowly, gradually,
Oversharing.
realize that it's better to keep it in yourself. Action is better than saying something. So I'm calm. I'm more focused on what is going on. So being observant and patience is something that I gained and I advise to everyone. It is helpful to lead to your growth in general, in terms of parenting, education, career, or in general in your job. The more you observe, the better you understand and the better you react and turning up to be a better human. So
Right.
that's how everything is interconnected.
Right. That's absolutely, I totally resonate with that. Because sometimes when I think of something which happened with me in the past, I'm like, I might have fallen back from the situation. I might have retreated from there and things would have been different. That's a really nice approach. And that's one of the most important thing people need to learn at a very early age. And this is something which should be uh, part of the whole upbringing process.
Exactly.
That we should be brought up in a way that we know what is the relevant portion we have to speak, and where we have to stand back and just listen, just observe, and just be there, be a part of it.
Exactly.
Just like that. Anyway.
So what happened is, I'm just finishing this conversation.
Please.
Where since childhood we always taught to share, taught to express, taught to talk and tell about yourself in general.
Yeah, अपने
Where
बारे में बताओ.
India is too much in rush. When I talk about India, people always ask me that what is the difference between other countries and India, or France and India. I always mention that there is no difference. The only thing is rush. India is always in rush, where you will go on the street or in your conversation with your friends, you will always see too much rush, too much activity, where they don't want to stop, they don't want to listen to others. Where on the other hand, the people from Western world, if we will call it, they are more observant, more calm, where they see that how things are going, finding the opportunity, creating the strategy, and
then working on
creating and starting it. So that's how best of the best works come, with calmness and patience and observance. You will see all the biggest players who are now at the top always talk about meditation or spirituality, because now they are at the top, they have realized. So when you're talking about the childhood or the kid, if that thing will we can integrate with the help of sport in the kids, you will see the change that we are talking about, the vision of 47.
Vision of 47. Great. So Rohit, when you went down to France, that was the very first country you went down?
Yes.
Or it was, how did that happen?
So I always wanted to go out. Like it was God grace, or it was written that
Destiny.
I was supposed to go, but I was neglecting it, and I wanted to go somewhere else. But I was getting the option to go to France, and coming from the middle class background and a single parent child, investing in something was always be very careful whenever you are doing something as an
Right.
Indian. You have to get twice of the return. That's how we think.
Then only you invest.
So I always got the opportunity to go out to play, but you always have to pay, and I didn't want it to. So I decided, why not to go out where you can study, you can get what you are paying, and at the same time you're pursuing your career.
Okay, so you went on there for studies
Yes, for my MBA,
in.
MBA second year, because I was working in Salwan
Okay.
as a teacher. So I already did my BPA here, so one more master was already here. So in France they gave me the direct admission in second year for 6 months, and 6 months was exposure to work and all. So that's how I end up coming in France. And I when I saw why France, I decided to understand why I'm getting these kind of signs. So when I saw there was not a single Indian who was playing in the league at
Okay.
that time, 5 years back. There was one player, but he is the origin of India, but not the Indian who go and playing. So that was something which was intriguing for me, and I wanted to represent India, becoming the first person, taking all the risks. So for the upcoming generation who is thinking of wanted to go out and play, we can open the doors for them by becoming the first person. So that's how I
You went out.
end up in France.
And how did this Indo France Sports Association happen? You're the president, right?
Yes,
How did this happen to you?
it's a beautiful story connected with what I just mentioned about my playing career.
Yeah, right now.
So I went there, I played, I got my license, and then I realized by playing
License?
a player license,
Okay.
now it's in India as well. When if you are playing in such league, you will get the license that you are certified that you are playing. It's a
Okay.
proof.
Okay.
So I have that license in 2019. I still have it. And now when I was playing, at the same time I was introspecting that what else, because I was there for studies, and after that I want to work as well and to sustain myself. So being a player cannot lead to the change and the development that I was thinking of. So I started becoming a coach. So I obtained my coaching license, which happens in French language. So I got it and I started working with multiple clubs like Paris University Club. Other two, three clubs were there, which was in the Paris area. And still I wasn't satisfied. So I connected with my mentor, who was politically connected over there and who has the exposure of how politics works. And I wanted to create the impact to not just into my surroundings, but way more than that. So by connecting with him, he gave me the sense of politics, that how it works and how I can use it for the betterment in sports. And that's how I ended up creating Indo Sports Association, where we started working with the cities. I started finding out who are the Indian origin political people working in France,
Okay.
and how we can create the synergy between them to promote India in France, because India and France have a very good and strong relations in terms of business, but not in sports. So we found the opportunity and we started working in it, where we are working with PSG, have a good relation with PSG. Paris FC is a League 2 club. PSG is League 1 club, Champions League club. Olympique Lyon is the Champions League winner in women. And these all our clubs are supporting us in terms of strengthening the Indo-French relations.
Okay.
And we are bringing them in India to provide the direct exposure to the kids. And that is the vision that we are working on, to create India a self-sustained country where we don't have to depend on any other country. For example, IT is something that everyone is coming to India. They are not we are not asking for IT from other countries.
Right.
The same thing that we want to create in sports, where we have everything. We have resources, we have numbers, we have population. When someone talk about we don't have money, I talk about numbers. We have 1.5 billion population, leads to the numbers. If we will ask 1 rupees from everyone, you anyways have the amount. But if you will ask a particular person for 100 rupees or 500 rupees, where they will think twice or thrice to pay, this is not the way to the development. So that is what we are doing, bringing all the resources, all the expertise from France, integrating them in our sports and education system, where kid doesn't have to go out. They will get everything here, they will get the exposure, they will educate by themselves, and they will self-sustain and be independent and provide their expertise to outside instead of getting it from outside.
So Rohit, when you just mentioned about this whole bilateral, this exchange of sports and the ideas as well, what exactly you are trying to keep as the center, as the pivot of it? Is it the universities? Is it the whole education system? Or you're trying to get into the ministry and the government and the education system and then to make it a part of it? How exactly you're planning to get it done?
To get it done is something which is already there in the name, which is sports. So sports is the only key player that I am discussing with everyone when they are talking about how we are tapping all those stakeholders when we are talking about the development. So development is something when you are introducing sports and then education at the same time. People are more keen to do sports instead of education, and using it as a tool where they will get educated and play sports is something will lead to easily learning and easily creating a platform where they can share the knowledge at the same time.
Okay.
In terms of government level, we are using the political side of it, where letting government understand that in coming years the development is coming. We are the youngest population in the world,
Yeah.
and we are getting old at the year of 2047 or 2045. So we have ample amount of time to create something like that, and government cannot do everything by themselves.
Okay.
That is the reality. And for the moment we always blame to the government that government have to do, but government is not responsible for everything.
Right.
So right now there is not a good synergy between private stakeholders, international stakeholders, and government, that how they have to create a model where they can work together for the development, where government can provide their resources, private entities can give their resources and create a sustainable model. For example, if we have a stadium, we create such stadium, but we don't know how to run it afterwards, after the event.
How to maintain that,
create
right?
it. This is after the stadium. But what about when we are constructing the stadium, and we will keep the mind of coming 20-30 years, how it should be? How do we need to keep things in our mind where it should be eco-friendly, sustainable in terms of whatever we are using, it should be sustainable. Drainage system should be there, keeping things in mind of international standard of
Standards.
facilities where India doesn't have right now. Most of the international athletes, Olympic athletes you will see in India, they are training outside, apart from Bangalore. So we cannot just focus on one state or one city. We will have 2 to 3 international facilities in each state. So the population of UP, if I will say, is bigger than the population of France. So if France have one stadium in each city is like the small city, like smallest than Noida.
Okay.
They have one stadium in each city. Why not in India? We have the capability, we have the infrastructure, we have the builders who are very big, who are doing a great job. Why not to create something like that, to create an ecosystem where they will also like to stay next to the stadium, they would like to come to the stadium. Why we always go to Delhi? Why
Right.
not to create the same kind of small cities in India, where we can easily create a easily habitant place. And apart from that, the role of private entities these days are not aware that how they can play a role in sports, in district sports, in state sports. And that is what we are trying to provide, an expertise and exposure, that whatever you want to do, come and join hand with sport. Whatever you have a object intention, you will get it, in terms of selling your products, doing the marketing,
Right.
tapping to the different world altogether, you will get it. And we always talk about
Understood.
marketing, this and that. So there are multiple things that we are creating.
Under one umbrella, and that is sports.
Yes.
Right. Rohit, keeping it very brief, the last question is that, okay, we talked about how and what are the things that you are looking forward, and specifically, especially for India, by keeping it at the center. I just need to understand from the perspective of a layman, if I'm sitting out there and listening to you, what are the things that Indo French Sports Association can provide, can work in, which can change the life of any person out there, which can be a value addition? What are the things you can provide or you can do in terms of private sector, government, and other like international players? Your role.
So Indo-French Sports Association is a non-profit organization
Okay.
where we are using the association as a tool to felicitate both nations, from governance level
Okay.
to private entities, to domestic level, between two nations, to create a cultural exchange, letting them to understand how you have to follow your life. Where I was in the beginning of the conversation, I was telling you that what is the difference between India and France?
Right.
There's no difference
No
that I
difference.
can
It's
see.
about that they're in rush.
Yes. And the more you will get to know other culture, the more you will get the exposure, and the more you will have the experience, and you will grow in general. So Indo-French Sports Association is becoming the felicitator between two nations, from sports, overall sports, to building the strategies for the governments. As we are Indians and based in France,
France.
we understand how French governance is working and how the culture is working. Bringing it in India and bringing the Indian culture in France to make it stronger. That is the very basic understanding that I can provide, which is very easy.
For
And
anyone to understand.
government gets the benefit for not just strengthening the relations, but also getting stronger in soft diplomacy, that India is still moving forward for, and France is already on top in soft diplomacy.
Exactly. Just not art, culture. Sports is one of the most important things that can actually work. And as far as I can understand, by sitting here is into French Sports Association, that will gonna work as a bridge, which can actually help not only these two nations. When I'm saying, I mean the people, they make the nation, but generally people think that it's about the government to work with the diplomacy, to work for the bilateral relations like that. So that's a good approach. Thank you so much, Rohit. It was a pleasure talking to you, and congratulations at the same time, and best of luck for this mission 47 that you have, right? For the
Right.
Olympics that we
36
36,
Olympics.
sorry, 36 Olympics that India is going to host, and being self-sustainable and self-sufficient at the same time. I believe that's a very good and commendable idea to think of at this moment and to work on it. And MSTV is always there to be a part of it, to help you out, to build our nation in any way possible. Thank you so much. It was a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much for hosting. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
So, Rohit ji, इम्पॉर्टेंट क्या था पूरे इंटरव्यू में जो मुझे समझ में आया वो ये है कि आमतौर पर एक सोशल अंडरस्टैंडिंग किसी भी जगह की होती है। पूरा इंटरव्यू हिंदी में था, अंग्रेज़ी में था, तो उसका सार थोड़ा सा मैंने सोचा हिंदी में आपके सामने रख दूँ कि किसी भी जगह की एक सामाजिक समझ होती है। वो सामाजिक समझ केवल आप ही पर प्रभाव नहीं डालती है, आने वाली जो जनरेशन्स होती हैं उनकी भी आसपास की परिस्थितियाँ बदल देती हैं, उनकी भी जीवन की सच्चाइयाँ बदल जाती हैं। अब ये अलग चीज़ है वो कि वहाँ से उठ के कहीं और जाएँ। उसमें बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा है स्पोर्ट्स का, क्योंकि स्पोर्ट्स केवल और केवल फिज़िकैलिटी, फ़िज़ीक के लिए नहीं होता है। इट इज़ वे मोर देन दैट। एक पूरी इंडस्ट्री है जो आस-पास घूम रही है और जॉब अपॉर्च्युनिटीज़ भी उसके साथ बहुत ज़्यादा हैं और साथ ही साथ आपकी पर्सनल ग्रोथ के लिए भी उसमें अपॉर्च्युनिटीज़ बहुत ज़्यादा हैं। तो अगर आने वाले टाइम में आपको भी लगता है कि कहीं कोई ऐसी चीज़ है जिसमें आप स्पोर्ट्स के थ्रू कोई कहीं पे भी कोई भी बदलाव कर सकते हैं कि यू कैन बी अ पार्ट ऑफ एनी अदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आउट देयर व्हिच इज़ एक्चुअली वर्किंग इन द फील्ड ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स, नॉट ओनली लाइक इंटरनेशनली, नेशनली, कहीं पे भी। तो बी देयर एंड जस्ट टू वॉच इट एंड अंडरस्टैंड द बेसिक एसेंस ऑफ इट, ताकि कल को फिर अगर रोहित जी या फिर रोहित जी जैसे और भी बाकी लोग जो कुछ ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं अगर कहीं आते हैं तो उनको एक ज़मीन तैयार मिले जिसके ऊपर वो और कुछ बेहतर चीज़ बना सकें। दिस इज़ माई अंडरस्टैंडिंग। अगर आपको लगता है कि कुछ थोड़ी इतर थी इसमें जोड़ा जा सकता है तो कमेंट सेक्शन खुला हुआ है, आप उसमें बता सकते हैं। बाकी अपना ख्याल रखें और देखते रहें एमएस टीवी।